Mate, I'll start by saying, what are your thoughts, general thoughts on team meetings?
Don't like them. Good teams train.
Yeah.
Poor teams meet.
I love it. How long was a David Park an hour?
Too long.
What did he do?
He can be a pain in the backside sometimes, that bloke. Yeah, he can.
Was he? How good was he? How good a coach was he for you?
No, he's very good. And he was very articulate. He was organised. He worked extremely hard in trying to organise our footy club to become good. But we had a really good bunch of players who had an idea that what they had to do, and they just needed someone to organise them properly. And I think that what happened. That's what really helped.
It was an amazing career. You were there for so many, magic moments in the history of the club. Can I ask you about your perspective and your view of a couple of things?
Sure.
Buzzastos Mark in 81.
Unbelievable.
Well, you were right there, though, weren't you?
I was standing next to him, and he was about 2 stories up. We went up on top of everybody, and just before that, the week before that, Kenny Hunter, who just arrived from Perth as well the same year, took an unbelievable mark. And I remember saying to Buzz after the game, because he was such a confident, he couldn't believe that Kenny had taken that mark. He said, "I'll beat him." And a week later he did. It was unbelievable. I went, "You're kidding, aren't you?" He said, "That is the mark of the year." As soon as he came down, he said, "That's it." I went, "Okay, good as gold." I couldn't dispute, I can tell you. What do you got now?
I feel under pressure.
So you should.
Round 7,
Yeah.
1984, I think, or 85. You kicked 7 against Geelong. Do you remember that?
David Rees-Jones got knocked out.
Really?
Yeah.
And that inspired you to kick 7?
No, didn't inspire me at all. Actually, it made me laugh, when he got knocked out.
Blight's Torp.
I was on the mark.
Yes. Did you?
Yeah, well, it was an unusual feeling because I played Malcolm, and in the first half he hardly touched the ball. And I saw Bruce Dill was playing on a bloke, and I don't want to discredit Johnny Douglas, but Johnny Douglas was no Malcolm Blythe, I can assure you, and I was no Bruce Dill. And I thought there may have been some selection problem there up in the coach's box. So I kept looking up and going, "Well, this bloke might be just a tad good for me." And he certainly was, and he kicked 3 goals in the last quarter, and that was basically the end of the game. And we lost a game that we should have won, and I was unfortunately on this bloke who I think we've seen enough of Malcolm to see that he's a freak,
Yeah.
and he was certainly the turning point. And he kicked this ball. It wasn't 80 metres. That was a whole load of rubbish. It was about I would have been standing on the 50-metre line. And he kicked the top. And as soon as you hit it, you can tell. It's like hitting a golf ball, and you go, "Wow, geez, that came off pretty quick," straight off the boot. And I looked over my head and went, "Oh." It's the end of that. So I had to walk off the ground with the head down and just cop it sweet and move on to the next day. What can you do?
What can you do? You've got to keep moving.
Yeah, you got to keep moving. I do blame myself, but there's a couple of blokes in the coach's box who could take a tad of blame too. Bruce Dill, what was wrong with him? Where was he?
I'm thinking about that definitive player profile from the 80s, Mark. Can you remember? Exactly. No, can you remember, if you can just go back and pretend it's 1983 again. Favourite food? What would it have? Do you remember? Because you would have done it.
My favourite food.
Yeah.
My favourite food was probably pasta.
Your favourite drink?
My favourite drink? Well, actually, my favourite drink wasn't beer, but I had a lot of them. It was, I suppose it was probably. I used to love milkshakes.
You're right. Your answer of favourite food as pasta is correct.
Yeah.
And then favourite drink was usually beer. From when I was a young kid with the record, that's what I used to read every.
Yeah. Well,
favourite holiday spot was Surface.
No, I didn't go there.
Didn't you?
No, it's a hole. Haven't you been there for a while? Absolutely hopeless.
I grew up reading the record, and there was this
No.
mystical place called Surface Paradise.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
All right.
Well, forget about it. Don't go there.
Favourite TV show?
Oh, Maxwell Smart was my favourite TV show. I still watch the replays of it sometimes on Fox and just sit there and giggle,
What character did you most identify with? Larrabee?
No, I love 99. So is it something wrong with 99?
No, not at all.
She was
Beautiful
special,
woman.
wasn't she? Max was just so stupid, he didn't know what he was doing, did he?
Plenty
of chances, just couldn't get over the line.
What about favourite movie?
My favourite movie? I got a few. I used to love The Sound of Music. And
really?
I did. Isn't it a classic?
Well, there are many classics. That doesn't mean you have to like them. So I'm going to ask you, what about music before a game, or music in general? Nothing.
I've never bought a record in my life.
Really?
They're wasting their time, those blokes, those musos. No, of course I listen to it, but I've never actually purchased one.
You've never bought a record or a
Never.
CD? Or?
No.
Wow. So an iTunes voucher to you, Sellers, would be a complete waste of money, would it?
Actually, my wife's got a stack on iTunes. It cost me a fortune.
He comes up often on these chats that I've been having, but Bruce Dool, it's people. Is there a teammate more beloved?
This guy was he wasn't interested in his own performance and what he did, marks, kicks, handballs. He was interested in destroying the opponent he was on, completely. And I remember him play one day, he had 3 kicks, and he was by far the best player on the ground. Yeah. Unbelievable, knock-ons, tap-ons, some things that people don't see, you know, and the players do. So for mine, you know, I mean, I'm glad that some of the people today, young kids, couldn't get some footage of him and have a look at him because he was sensational.
And it would be fair. Did you, during the week, because you were centre half forward, he was centre half back, or did you do?
I played on him a lot. Yeah.
How was that?
Practice matches. Yeah, he destroys your confidence. Yes. No.
This famous recovery session on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, it was famous, all right. Very famous, and they talk about leading teams now.
Yeah.
Well, we were doing leading teams back then. We didn't have a bloke who had to get paid to do this. We were doing it amongst ourselves. The honesty amongst us on a Sunday morning was unbelievable. We'd play soccer. We'd run a lap of the park. We'd have a game, Catholics versus the Protties, and then we'd have a few beers, and we'd go through some stuff and watch the world of sport, which was religious for us. Loved it, you know.
I still miss it.
I do too. And so we'd do that, and then they'd start to talk about each other's games. People would start to talk about it. Well, you didn't do this. Why didn't you do it? And you keep your head down, because if you got a little bit sort of large-headed, and everyone does at times, they'd shoot you down. Now, that was the best part about it. They'd pull you up and say, right, that's it. You know, are you a hopeless of this? And all of a sudden you go, and all your peers, there's more power in your peers, honesty, than there is in anything else. No.
I feel comfortable enough to ask you this now, Sellers. 1979 grand final.
Yeah.
It's the iconic Carlton team, which you're a pivotal member. 7 free kicks against.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
See, most people
were they all to Billy Picken?
Most of them, yes. My job was not to let Billy run away. My job was not to stop. To not allow him to play on it any time, not allowed to do those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So, and I played on him once before. I reckon I gave away 12 when Alex Cieslenko first took over in '78. He said, that was my first time I played. Oh, I played centre forward if you like, but he said, Alex, actually, this is your job. I don't care what you do, just do not let them run. So you just do whatever you have to do and pull them over and drop them or whatever you want to do. Just do it. I don't care. But he has to go back, make him kick over the mark and do all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So that you slow the play down. So I think I had 12 free kicks given against me. And Alex goes, that was sensational. I went, I'm not so certain about that, but anyway, it's the way it goes. Anyway, so it was sort of, that was what my job was, not allow him to do that. So I did give him a few free kicks, yeah. But that's part of the game. Sometimes you've got to sacrifice yourself to do other things, you know.
Sure, I wish I'd met you 25 years ago.
Why? Haven't you sacrificed enough?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Did you play on Billy the most? Do you think is he the opponent you've just played on every? You know, in the old days, you look forward to these matchups.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I loved it.
You're half expecting to be in the back right now, actually, just punching the
Here comes Billy. Here comes Billy.